To judge by where he came from, you would never know that this little guy and Adolf Hitler were on a collision course.
Ich verkünde die Spiele von Berlin zur Feier der 11. Olympiade neuer Zeitrechnung als eröffnet. Und jetzt das 100 Meter Endspiel.
And now the final of the men's 100 meters. Favored is America's fastest sprinter, the famous Negro athlete, Jesse Owens.
Owens is ahead. Sternberg and Dorfmeyer are fighting. Osendorf charms his right off. Metcalf comes up, but Owens wins in 10.3. Second, Metcalf America. Third, Osendorf Holland.
Jesse Owens, rise and face the court.
Mr. Owens, you were charged with willful failure to file income tax returns. 4 counts. 1 for each of 4 consecutive years. How do you plead?
Your Honor, we plead nolo contendere.
Before I accept the plea, I will warn the defendant. Mr. Owens, while nolo contendere is not a confession of guilt, it is a refusal to defend. Now, on this plea, I always make a finding of guilty.
I understand, Your Honor.
The maximum penalty for each count is 1 year in prison and $10,000 fine. Since there are 4 counts involved, the court could sentence you to 4 years in prison and $40,000 fine. Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
To give you an idea of my procedure, I'll try my best to treat Jesse Owens the same way I treat any other defendant, from an armed bank robber to a mailbox thief. I'll order the probation department to conduct a pre-sentence investigation because I want to know exactly what kind of a man the defendant is. If he's a man with a bad record, I take that into consideration. And I don't just mean a criminal record. I mean, if he doesn't live with his family, if he doesn't take care of them, I take that into consideration. In a tax case, I want to know how he got his money. Did he work for it, or was it ill-gotten gains? I want to know anything and everything about him. After I study the report on this investigation, I will then make my decision as to the sentencing. Do you still wish to plead nolo contendere?
Yes, sir, I do.
Very well. Plea is accepted. I find the defendant guilty.
Here's your answer. He won his race with Adolf Hitler, but he couldn't beat Uncle Sam. Sure, he admits it. The only question is how long he's going to go to jail for it.
Jesse, boss man coming. You better get picking.
I don't have to. I'm sick.
Boss man says every boy gotta pick his 100 pounds. Don't you make him mad, Jesse.
All right, I'm coming.
Good boy, Jesse, good boy. Don't make the boss man mad.
Mr. Owens, my name is Lou Gilbert. I'm the probation officer assigned to your case. I'd like to come out and talk to you.
You come right ahead, Mr. Gilbert. We'll be glad to see you. I was born the 10th of 11 children. We lived so close to the Baptist church I could hear the preacher thundering fire and brimstone before I could understand the words. Maybe that's why some people say I talk like a preacher myself. When I was 9 years old, my father moved the family to Cleveland. That was in...
Mr. Owens, what I asked you for was an explanation of your offense.
I believe that's exactly what he was coming to.
It's all right, Ruth. Maybe I was taking the long way around. Mr. Gilbert, my background is athletics. You play on a team. The team situation where each player has certain responsibilities is a habit with me. That's the way I operate my business partnerships. So I relied on my associates to see that everything was in order.
Didn't you know you were required to file a personal income tax return every year?
Yes, certainly I knew that.
We're talking 4 years in a row that you didn't sign a tax return. You must have known they were not being filed. How can you charge someone else with that responsibility?
No, I'm not trying to put the blame on anyone else. The captain of the team is responsible for what the team does, and I was the captain. Let me express it this way. I have won a lot of races, and I have lost a lot of races. There might be reasons why I lost, some even beyond my control, but I was the one who lost the race. No one else.
Is that all you want to say?
That's it.
Okay. If you change your mind, you can call me or write out a statement and send it to me, or have your attorney write one. Here's my card. Think about it. Because it's my job to go back through your life and turn over every single rock. You're the one who knows what I'm going to find. Mrs. Owens, nice meeting you. I'm not supposed to give defendants advice, but I advise you to ask Judge Barry to have me taken off your case. Probation officer should be neutral. I'm not.
Yeah, I could tell. You're in my corner all the way.
He probably thinks another black would be. But how black are you, Mr. Owens? You've been getting your name in the papers for over 30 years. And I never once read where you protested the injustice and inhumanity that blacks still suffer. I did read where black athletes at the Olympics protested and the white committee sent you to slap their wrists. I did hear black leaders cry out for equal rights and equal opportunity, and you called it racist black think. Let's accommodate the whites and wait for crumbs to fall from their tables. And you want me to write the report on you?
Didn't take you long to get my number, did it?
Haven't exactly got it yet. Can't make up my mind which one calls the shots. The Uncle Tom or the crook.
I'll tell you what, champ. I'm not going to take your advice. Any job I ever had, I always tried to do my best. I'm willing to be judged by that. Now, you go do your best on this job. And you'll be judged by that.
Man, I can't believe you.
Jesse, maybe you better ask the judge to take him off.
No, I'm not going to holler before I'm hurt.
But he can't hurt you, Jesse. He can hurt you very badly.
Oh, he wouldn't do that, baby. I don't think he means half of what he said. He's just trying to live up to his afro.
The first time I said, Holy Mother, I can't be sober. But with me teaching me gym class on a Tuesday morning, what else would I be but sober?
Of course.
What's that?
I said, of course you were sober, Mr. Riley.
Well, that's what I said, isn't it? Would you sit down this side so I can hear? No. What I would do at the beginning of every term was line up each class at one end of the football field.
Set!
Solomon! When I sent you after me stopwatch, did you play with it or did you drop it or what?
Who, me, Coach?
The blame thing's not... Well, yes it is, but it can't be working. Right. Once that kid over there just ran the 60 yards and barely a second off the world's record. Bring him over here.
Hey, Owens! Coach Riley wants you.
Have you ever been on a track team?
What's that?
Would you think it like...
Yes.
What's that?
I said, I guess.
Well, it's fine. Come for tryouts tomorrow after school. What's your name?
Jesse Owens.
Owens. And what's your first name?
JC.
Jesse.
JC.
Well, that's what I said, isn't it? Jesse.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
Jesse?
Oh.
Hey, you want to do something for me, son?
Yeah, what?
Take this home to your sister.
Okay. Dear Ruth, I will stop by your house tonight and ask if you want to come out and have a soda with me. You gotta do better than that.
And a soda?
Then ask Ruth. You gotta ask Mama.
What does your father do?
Well, right now he's looking for work.
Your father isn't working.
We just can't find anything steady ever since we moved to Cleveland.
Do your brothers work?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And my sisters. I work too after school.
What kind of work can you do?
Mama, he's not asking, can he marry me? It's only a soda.
Be quiet, child.
I help my brothers sometimes. I load freight cars. That pays good. Janitor work or delivering groceries. And on Saturday, I work in Mr. Driscoll's shoe repair.
Really? Is that why your shoes have such a nice shine?
Yes, ma'am.
You look very nice and clean. Although your shirt has a hole worn at the elbow.
Oh, well, I noticed that, but I couldn't change to the other shirt because my sisters were washing it.
Your sisters were washing your other shirt?
Yes, ma'am. They wash and iron one shirt every day while I wear the other to school.
I see. Do any of your brothers and sisters go to high school?
No, ma'am. But they all finished grade school.
And he's going to college.
What's that?
I said he is going to college, Mama.
Well, a boy with two shirts. What's to stop him?
How'd you come tell your mama a dumb thing like I'm going to college?
Maybe you are going.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I don't want to go. If I did want to, I couldn't know maybe about that.
Well, I think you could go to college if you wanted to.
You think? How you know what I can do?
Well, how do you know? You don't even know your name.
I don't know what?
Your own name. My brother told me about you and that coach.
Your brother has a big mouth.
There you go, there you go. Go ahead. Go, man, go ahead. There you go, that's how you work with it.
Well, who was that, Owens? What you doing around here, Owens?
What's that thing around his neck?
That's a rope. He just escaped from the Ku Klux Klan.
What do you have? I want a black and white. What you want?
Strawberry soda.
With?
Oh, yeah, with, strawberry.
Coming right up. Yeah, your brother talks too much.
Well, you don't talk enough. Thank you. How come you let that man call you Jesse when your name is James?
My name is James Cleveland.
it is. Everybody call you James Cleveland all the time?
No, they call me JC.
JC's not Jesse. Should have made the man call you by your right name.
I told him. He just kept on saying it his way, so no use getting him mad.
Why not get him mad?
Well, what for? I'm not even going out for his team.
Well, that doesn't make you very smart. If you're a good athlete, they give you a scholarship to go to college.
If I had $1 million, I'd be rich.
That'll be 20 cents. I bet you won't like your soda.
Why won't I?
'Cause I got it for you. So far, you don't like nothing, I do.
I didn't say that. I like Jesse. It's kind of cute.
This is hard as just brains.
All right, who wants to be the first one to tell me where the Owens live? I thank you. Hello? Hello? Hello there? Is Jesse in? Who?
He means JC.
Laverne, turn that thing down. Who wants to see him? One of his teachers. My name is Riley.
JC, your teacher's here.
My who?
Pearline, I have to run these down to Miss Cooper before she gets mad again. You do something, will you, or I'll never get it done.
Hello, Jesse. I was wondering if you'd like to take a nice walk with me. Would you come on this side so I can hear you?
I didn't say nothing.
Well, if you do say something, I wouldn't want to miss it. Would you care to say why you haven't come out for the team?
I don't know. I don't run so fast anyhow.
Well, you look pretty fast to me.
Nah, my brother Quincy's faster. He's older, but he still beats me.
Did he come out for the track team?
Now, he didn't go to high school. He had to go to work, help out the family.
I see. So, thanks to Quincy and others of your family, you are going to high school. How many people are you, Jesse? You're just one. You're not your brothers or your sisters or any of the other people of the world that didn't get to finish school. You are one person. All of your life, you're going to have to compete as your own person and nobody else. But you make the most of your abilities and nobody can stop you. You'll be a winner.
Well, why do I have to compete on a track team?
You think you have to, but you don't. A track team because athletics will build you up. Right now, you're a pretty scrawny fella. And there's another reason. Life is a race. You run it as well as you can for as long as you can. Now, who said that? Charlie Riley? No. St. Paul.
I never heard that in the Baptist church.
Jesse, will you give it a try anyway?
Mr. Riley, I just can't be on the track team.
Why can't you?
Because I can't go to practice. I have to work after school.
You work every day?
Yes, sir. I have to help out the family.
Come before school.
Before?
Come an hour early. I'll come an hour early to coach you. Isn't it a bargain?
Yes, sir.
Done. 6 o'clock in the morning. God help me. And you can call me coach. Okay, coach. Holy mother. Give us a push, will you?
Hey!
I will too. Me. Get away.
Well, sir, Jesse showed up the next morning. A lot of mornings after. He was a natural track athlete. He needed very little technical coaching from me. Mainly, it was a matter of laying out his practice runs and selecting his best events. He was impressive in the flat sprints and in the hurdles. And in the run and broad jump, as it was called in those days, he was sensational. By his junior year, he was jumping within 1.5 inches of the national record. And running the 100 yards in 10.3 seconds, equal to the scholastic record. I'm pleased to say the faculty managed to get him another couple of shirts. And a job that gave him time to work out with the team. But we couldn't do much about the climate for black people in the 30s. And I'm not talking about the South. I'm talking about Ohio and Indiana. That was the reason why Jesse and his friend Dave Albritton and the rest of the black kids on the team went to track meets separately.
Hey, what about this place? You guys want to try it?
I'm hungry. Let's go.
Yeah, well, before you go, Dave, you really think we want to eat a big meal when we got to run this afternoon?
You don't catch the rest of the team worrying about that. Didn't you see the bus in front of the White Rose Diner?
Yeah, let's go eat.
Okay, what we do is we all go in there and we want to eat. Whatever they say, we tell them we want to eat, and we sit there until they serve us.
Hey, Papa, now take it easy. What's the use of getting mad ahead of time?
What do you say we do? Just sit here?
I say one of us go in there and ask the people if they'll serve us. If they say yes, swell, we all go in. If they say no, swell, we go on down the road to the next place.
Yeah. Well, let's do it that way. You want to go in, Jesse?
Yeah, I'll go in.
I'll go with you.
Okay, now we ask, right?
Yeah, right. Let's do it.
How you doing, boys?
Fine.
What'll it be?
A couple of burgers and fries.
I have the same. I'll go tell the guys to come in.
What do you want to drink?
You boys been here before?
No, ma'am, we haven't.
Then I better tell you, you'll have to take the food outside.
Well, why outside? Why do we have to take it outside?
Well, because you can't eat it in here.
What do you mean we can't eat it in...
Excuse me, ma'am. Those people are eating in here.
Yeah, but you people aren't.
Excuse me one more time, ma'am, but are you going to charge us any less for the food?
Charge you less.
Well, if they get to use the place, tables, dishes, and everything, and we don't, why should we pay the same price they do?
We only got one set of prices.
Bourgeois. They ain't putting us out like the garbage.
Maybe we ought to ask the guys what they want to do.
I'm not asking nothing. And I'm not eating nothing that comes from here. I'm walking out. What are you going to do?
Hey, Daddy, I said in the first place, who wants a big meal when we got to run?
What's going on?
We're gonna eat?
Because they won't serve us?
Yes or no? Let's go try someplace else.
We're not good enough to eat off their dishes.
What's the matter, officer?
All right, switch off the ignition. Hand me the key. Okay. I want to know who ordered food here and walked out without paying. We know it was two of you boys. We got it on the radio. This car's not moving till somebody tells me who they are.
I ordered the food.
So did I.
Out of the car.
Their bill is 75 cents each, not including the tip.
We didn't eat that food.
You ordered it, you pay for it.
But if the lady told us first we couldn't eat it there, we wouldn't have ordered it.
Look, you have to pay. Or else we have to throw you two black bottoms in jail.
You boys do the black bottom?
Excuse me, officer. Hey, this is a Cleveland track team, and we're supposed to be at a meet in Fort Wayne.
When does your track meet, boy?
This afternoon.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Anybody we throw in jail on a Saturday has to lay there. At least until the judge comes on Monday.
Hey, fellas, look. I can pay for you.
No, you can't.
No, Solomon.
Now, wait a minute, George. They want to eat inside so bad they can eat inside. It'll be all right this one time.
What'd you say?
I mean it, boys. Come on in.
It has to be like with them. We'll pay when we're done eating.
Oh, well, that'll be all right. Now, come on along.
Go on, hurry up.
Something wrong with the food, boys? Better eat up now. That track meets today, right?
In a manner of speaking, once Jesse started running, there was no stopping him. By his senior year, he was breaking all kinds of track records. In the 220, in the broad jump. At the time, Jesse was also competing in the high jump and breaking records. And in the 100-yard dash, Jesse set a high school record which has not been broken to this day. Understand what that means now. Today, they have starting blocks to get off faster. They run on artificial turf, which is faster. Today's shoes make them faster. And the athletes today, they're bigger and stronger. The result's of better nutrition. Oh, nutrition. Jesse's square meals depended on me angel of a wife and me devil of a car.
How long will it take, Charlie?
I had remarkable jalopies. They would break down on Fridays, and they'd keep me working on them all day Saturday. But by Sunday dinner time, they'd take me clear across town to pick up Jesse. Afterwards, Jesse would take me for a nice walk.
Coach, aren't you getting tired of this yet?
But I figure if we walk long enough and talk long enough, we'll begin to understand each other.
I understand what you say.
Sure. I'm easy. It's you, with your whole entire life in front of you. How can you say you don't want college?
Are you just wanting what I can't get?
Ah, that again. With your track record, you could get into 20 colleges.
College won't help support my family.
Have you ever really, seriously, sat down and talked to them about it?
Talking won't change anything. It'll only...
We'll go around the block again. I wouldn't want to cut you off. You were about to say it'll only make them mad.
Good.
Jesse, why is it that you never want to make anybody mad?
Because you get nothing out of that but trouble.
Well, now, there's the kind of trouble a man can avoid. Then there's the kind of trouble a man should fight it out with toe-to-toe. And the best thing you can do for your family is to make something of yourself. Whether they understand it or not.
Well, I can do that without a piece of paper from college.
Oh, you think so, do you? Would it surprise you to know that I don't have a college degree and that it hurts me very sorely? The board hired me because they can pay me less than a qualified teacher.
Well, it looks to me like you're doing all right anyway.
Not compared to how I could be doing.
Compared to my pa.
Well, you've worn me out. But you haven't heard the last of me. Fair notice.
I would never want that, Coach. Ah.
Holy Mother. Give us a push, will you?
You get me message, at least.
What message?
If I had a college diploma, maybe I could buy myself a car instead of a calamity.
How's it going, Papa?
Oh, everything's gonna be all right. As long as these eyes don't get too old to read help wanted.
Well, whatever became of that man promised the pastor he had a steady job for you?
Well, this morning after service, the pastor told me that man's factory is going union shop. And well, at union, they don't take no color.
I'm sorry, Papa.
In the spring of 1933, just a few months before Jesse's graduation, we went to a major interscholastic track meet. Coaches from all the Midwest colleges were scouting it. But for me, there was only one man, the great Larry Snyder, head track and field coach for Ohio State.
Sure, he's good at high school level. He's very good. But move him up to national championship level, and a lot of men can beat him.
You don't want him then?
Sure, I want him. But I can't move heaven and earth to get him. You know there's no such thing as an athletic scholarship in track.
Why not when you give athletic scholarships in football?
Football tickets pay off stadium bonds.
The last time I looked at a picture of the Ohio State football squad, I didn't see a single black face.
Don't pick on us. There isn't one Negro player on any Big Ten football team.
That's my point precisely. Why can't the great universities take some of the money that they spend on white football players, who may not need it so badly, and use it for Negro track athletes who do?
Charlie, when I'm a university president, I'll be happy to arrange that. Meanwhile, I can probably find your boy a couple of jobs to pay for his fees and his keep, and that's all I can do. If you want him to go to Ohio State, give him guidance.
Actually, I'd prefer to see him go to Michigan.
Oh, you would you?
Well, I've always been partial to the University of Michigan.
Professor Riley, I presume. Are you a qualified judge of the relative merits of major universities?
I'm not Mrs. O'Leary's cow either, but I'm qualified to start a fire. I drove Jesse down to Ann Arbor last week. They're very interested in him. They just haven't come up with the right offer. So far.
All right. I'll bite. What's it going to take, Charlie?
A steady job for his father.
We don't do things like that. I could never swing it. Out of the question.
Runners, on your marks. Get set. On your marks.
24 feet, 11 inches.
Measure that again, will you?
24 feet, 11 1/8 inches.
Would you care to think about the boy's father again before I wire these results to Michigan?
Jesse, I'm right here. I just couldn't wait for you inside.
Oh, Ruth, you don't know what happened.
You won all your events. My brother told us.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
What else?
They're giving my pa a job.
Who is?
Ohio State University, maintenance man.
Oh, Jesse, that is so wonderful.
That's not all. I'm going there. It's true. Can you believe it? I can't believe it myself, but I wouldn't tell you if it wasn't true. I'm going to college.
Why, Jesse, I told you that a long time ago.
Then, of course, I wasn't so much a part of Jesse's life anymore. Once he went off to the big time, you might say. But he always made sure to keep in touch. Let me tell you about what he did with the first money he got his hands on. $10,000 it was. He took 6,000 of it and bought a lovely house for his father and his mother. A brick house on Oak Street. Then he bought a brand new automobile. A Hudson Terraplane it was.
So what do you think?
Oh, if it was mine, I wouldn't let it out of me sitting room.
You want to drive it around the block?
Oh, boy, Joy. Oh, yeah. Come on, turn.
Oh, you got to watch out. This isn't like your car. You step on the starter, this thing starts.
It won't harm your wonderful new car. Trust me.
That darn right, you're not going to harm my car. This one belongs to you. I said that in the good ear, didn't I? If not, here's the registration. Your name's on it. Come on, Coach. If I can't get you a little present, who can?
Don't mind if I'm a bit overcome. It's just the smell of the thing. Did you notice that?
That's that new car smell, Coach.
Oh, you found me out. I never even stood next to a new car before.
Mr. Riley? Mr. Riley?
Oh, yes.
Do you happen to know just how Owens got his hands on this $10,000? The judge would probably be very interested to know.
Well, everyone knows that the hero of the 1936 Olympics was Jesse Owens. Naturally, he came home to a hero's welcome, including a ticker tape parade down Broadway. And while he was riding in this open car, and the crowd was cheering him, somebody in that crowd, he never did find out who it was, somebody threw a paper bag right into Jesse's lap. And in that paper bag, would you believe this? There was $10,000 cash.
Does anybody really believe that some unknown benefactor just dropped all that money in Jesse Owens' lap?
Let me say a word about that. It's not a very convincing story now, I guess. But I've always felt that when a man is in the public eye, he ought to stand 10 feet tall, because we never know when young people are looking to us to set an example.
What is the straight story behind that money, Mr. Owens?
You want the truth?
Mm-hmm.
I was paid $10,000 to support Alfred M. Landon's campaign against Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Were you ashamed of that?
Some people thought I should be, but I wasn't. Celebrities endorse cigarettes, banks, automobiles. Why was it wrong for me to endorse a Republican? Besides, it wasn't just for the money. I believed Landon would be better for the black man.
What made you think so?
Adolf Hitler made my name a household word when he wouldn't shake hands with me. President Roosevelt didn't shake hands with me either. Governor Landon did.
The old Buckeye campus. What a sight for the eyes of any freshman. But for a black kid who still remembered his one-room schoolhouse in the Alabama cotton fields, it was a little overwhelming. I was a friend and a teammate of Jesse's. My event was a high jump. In fact, at one time, I held a world record. No, not really. I held 2 world records. One outdoors and one indoors on a dirt floor.
Where'd you guys live on campus?
Oh, no. Black students didn't live on campus. Most of the black athletes lived in Mr. Henderson's rooming house on 11th Street. We ate at Brassfield's, and we worked very hard for the money to pay. Every dime. And Jesse worked just as hard as the rest of us. He trained just as hard, too, even with all that marvelous natural ability he had.
Owens! Like to see you. Your feet are still flying outward. That's natural, but it's not good. Best way to get them straight is to train yourself to walk a little pigeon toe. That's it. Keep going.
Another thing about Jesse, he hadn't taken a college entrance course in high school, so he had to study a lot more than some of us and sleep a lot less.
Hey, watch it! Why don't you do your sleeping in bed?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna try that sometime.
Put it lower. A little lower. That's good. Chuck, take left. Now, Jesse, you're coming out of your crouch too rapidly. I want you to stay low for the first 3 strides. Don't straighten up until you pass the bar. Try it again.
Ludwig van Beethoven, 9 symphonies, 1 opera, 1770, died 18. Ludwig van Beethoven, 9 symphonies, 117.
You passed my floor.
Oh. All right. Let's look at it this way. Jesse wasn't taking calculus. Neither was he taking the basic sciences. But even with music appreciation and hygiene, he still had to pass those exams to stay eligible. That wasn't easy. And neither was competing with world-class athletes. Euless Peacock beat him in the broad jump and the 100 yards. Ben Johnson beat him in the meters and the 60. Willis Ward beat him in the 60. And the great Ralph Metcalf, who won 2 medals in the 1932 Olympics, beat Jesse in the sprints. But even against this kind of competition, and while he was still a freshman, Jesse tied the world indoor record for the 60-yard dash at the New York KC Games. The National AAU meet in Princeton, he set a new world record for the indoor broad jump. As a sophomore, Jesse won the Milrose 60, and at the AAU Nationals, he broke his own indoor broad jump record. Outdoors at the Drake Relays in Des Moines, Jesse won the broad jump and the 100 meters. Then, on May 25th, 1935, at the Big Ten Championships in Ann Arbor, Jesse emerged as the greatest track athlete of modern times. In the 100-yard dash, he equaled the world record. In the broad jump, he set a new world record. In the low hurdles, he set another world record. And in the 220 yards, he set a third world record.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege of presenting to you the new champion of the world in 3 events, Jesse Owens of the Ohio State University.
Ruth, did you see what your boyfriend did yesterday?
I listened to the track meet on the radio.
I mean what he did in Detroit afterwards.
I saw it. Don't you read the paper, Ruth?
No, ma'am. I can depend on the customers to tell me what I need to know.
She looks to be quite a pretty girl.
Who does?
The girl he took to the party.
You want to see her, Ruth? Here's a picture.
Her name is something like Quince.
Quincilla Flemington.
Her father is very rich.
A publisher. Isn't she gorgeous, Ruth?
Yes.
She must think your boyfriend is pretty hot stuff the way she's looking at him.
Yeah. Now that he's a celebrity, you'll have to beat the women off with a stick.
They don't make sticks that big.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, my goodness. Here, let me... Oh, well, my...
Hello, Ruth. This is Jesse. It's Jesse, honey. How are you?
Fine.
I've been meaning to call you since yesterday, but they don't give a guy a minute to himself. Listen, Ruth, I've got so much to tell you.
Don't tell me. Tell Quincilla.
Can I come in? Ruth, all right, Quincilla Flemington. I'm going to tell you exactly what she means to me. We're getting married tonight.
You're not going to marry her.
Why would I marry her? I'm talking about you.
Well, why would you marry me?
So you'll quit thinking I care anything about her? Or anybody else except you?
I wasn't really that mad, Jesse, so you don't have to marry me. In such a big hurry, I mean.
Oh, it has to be in a hurry.
Why?
Because I'm leaving on the midnight train to be in the AAU Nationals in Madison Square Garden, New York.
Well, what kind of a wedding? What about my mama and my family?
Everybody can come as long as they hop to it.
We can't get married tonight. You have to have a license. And it's 6:30. The office is closed.
Larry Snyder called the Cleveland Post. They arranged with the license clerk to stay open till 8 o'clock, just for us.
But we still have to wait 3 days.
The Post got the mayor to waive the waiting period for us.
But we can't get a minister so fast.
There'll be a minister right here in your house at 9 o'clock.
The Cleveland Post arranged that, too.
They sure did.
Well, they didn't arrange anything with me. So why don't you just marry the Post?
It doesn't make me feel the way you do. I love you, Ruth. I think you love me, too.
Oh, Jesse. You know I love you.
Now, would everybody look this way, please?
Being a champion meant staying at the same hotel as the white athletes, at least in New York. It did not mean going in the front door.
Yeah?
Room service?
You order something, Jesse?
Not me.
What's this stuff?
This is your dinner, sir.
We didn't order any dinner.
Well, this was ordered for you.
We're eating in the dining room.
Sir, I'm sorry. You'll have to talk to the manager about that.
What the hell do you call this? We can't ride in the elevator. We can't eat in the dining room. We're here, but nobody's supposed to know. I mean, what do you call it?
The invisible nigger.
Come in.
Hey, Jesse. Hey,
Here we go, guys. New York food is good. Hotel food is not good.
What odds did we give on this stuff?
Okay, very nice. I'm still eating in the dining room. What about you?
I like the company here.
They got a choice, do we?
Oh, come on, Papa, don't get so mad.
Jesse, I love you like my brother. But don't you hand me that don't get mad garbage, not this time. This is that diner in Indiana all over again.
Sure it is. Sure it is. So why can't you see we've got the same choice now than we had then?
What choice?
Let the meal get spoiled or eat it while it's hot.
Would you believe that history picked this guy to kick Hitler in his Aryan ass?
Alles, was ihr seid, seid ihr durch mich. Und alles, was ich bin ich nur durch euch allein.
Under the Nazis, the official policy of Germany was the supremacy of the Aryan master race. Jews, Poles, Gypsies, and Negroes were condemned as subhuman. Some people felt that America should boycott the Olympics. On their side was Judge Jeremiah Mahoney, who was president of the Amateur Athletic Union. Some others felt there should be no boycott. Avery Brundage, who was president of the American Olympic Committee, was on their side. And people like the coaches, Larry Snyder, were caught right in the middle.
We were approached by many different groups to urge our athletes to boycott the so-called Nazi Olympics. But I didn't think it was fair to expect them to make that decision when they'd spent the better part of their lives training for the games. In December, the Amateur Athletic Union was going to vote on the boycott issue. And my position was that whatever the AAU convention decided, that's what I advised my boys to do.
We have resolutions and petitions from 1.5 million members demanding an American boycott of this Nazi Olympics.
The German government gave me its pledge that there would be no discrimination at the Olympics.
Not one single Jew has been reported in their Olympic training program.
If we don't see them in the training program, it's because Germany doesn't have any Jewish athletes.
If Germany doesn't have Jewish athletes, it's because the Nazis have driven them out of sports.
Absolutely untrue. Why, the Berlin Olympic Committee has just appointed a Hungarian Jew to be a fencing judge.
I believe we would be giving moral and financial support to a regime that stands against everything Americans hold dear.
I believe if we do not compete, Germany will carry away the victory. No true American would allow that.
There was an agreement between both sides that the issues would be discussed thoroughly on the convention floor. But there was some fast footwork by the Brundage forces. So, the boycott in Mahoney lost by 6 votes.
What was Jesse Owens' position on the boycott issue?
He had none. Neither did any of us.
How could you not?
Mr. Gilbert, let me tell you something. Issues were for others. When a black kid is chasing his tail, from his jobs, to his studies, to his training, he has one worry, and that is to stay alive. I would have gone to the Olympics if I could, but I tore a ligament, and it didn't heal in time. Good thing Jesse was okay, though. Otherwise, we would have missed all those marvelous Hitler stories. They all begin the same way. Hitler mobilized the entire resources of Germany to turn the Olympics into a showcase for his theories of Aryan supremacy. Then along comes this black son of an inferior race.
Owens wins in 10.4 seconds.
And makes a liar out of him.
The gold medal for Jesse Owens so infuriated Mr. Hitler that he refused to allow the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner because, the Führer said, Owens belongs to a decadent
Hitler
race.
would not allow Owens to sit with him in his box.
Jesse Owens' victory today put Adolf Hitler in such a fury, the German Chancellor refused to shake hands with him.
Owens' performance that it shocked and stunned Adolf Hitler. Instead of congratulating Owens, mysteriously left the stadium.
The official explanation was that he left because it was starting to rain. But the sports writers maintain that I drove Hitler out of his own stadium.
Which became part of the Jesse Owens legend. What does the man behind the legend have to say?
Hey, when you're down there with your nose in the cinders, you're no expert on what's happening up in Hitler's box.
Did he really stop them from playing the Star-Spangled Banner when you won?
Just between us men behind the legend. Hitler had no control over that. The proper national anthems were played for all the winners, and nobody ever asked him to invite me or any other athlete to sit in his box.
Well, didn't he snub you? Didn't he refuse to shake hands? Or is that just another myth?
On the first day, he shook hands with the first winners, who were Germans and Finns. Then the International Committee objected, and he didn't shake hands with anybody anymore. Cornelius Johnson and Dave Albritton were the next black winners, so if he snubbed any of us, it was them, not me. The reporters used my name instead of theirs, which was the best thing that could have happened to my public speaking career.
You mean you've been keeping the myth alive on the lecture circuit ever since?
Those stories are what people like to hear, so you tell them.
Doesn't it bother you making money off of that? It's no job.
You call that a snow job? The real job is what the Nazis did on a lot of Americans who came home telling how great it was in Germany. Organized, clean, Gemütlichkeit. So for the next 2 years, nobody stopped the worst murderer of all time from gobbling up a couple more countries. Now, isn't that a little more important than whether Hitler snubbed me?
Okay.
And what did those Americans worry about? Too many events won by black athletes. How could the white man keep the scales tipped in his favor? So for the next 11 years, there were no blacks in the major leagues. Isn't that important?
Yes.
So let me ask you one. Why don't people want to hear me talk about those things? Why is it all they care about is how mad I got Hitler?
You and Hitler were the stars of the show. People love to hear the lowdown on stars.
Oh, say it straight. You don't get too far giving people the lowdown on themselves.
As soon as I heard about Jesse's trouble, I took the first plane north. He helped me when I needed it. So I came to Chicago to see if I can help him.
When and how did you first become acquainted with the defendant?
In 1936, I was on the Mexican team. In July, all the teams began arriving. From the moment we were greeted at the Rathaus, the town hall, it was like the most happy fiesta, day and night. Everywhere the athletes went, the crowds would cheer us. The Germans treated us like they were the most warm and friendly people in the world. For the cultural program, they played beautiful music, Beethoven's Ode to Joy. The words say that all men should be brothers under God. So I began to think, maybe it wasn't true what I had heard about Hitler and the Nazis. Until I got on a bus to the Olympic Village with a lot of Americans.
Stop the bus! Bus is low. Just stop it!
Does anybody talk German?
I can, a little.
What does the sign say?
It says Jews and dogs keep out.
The guys who got off the bus were two of the Jewish athletes on the U.S. squad. David Levitt, a sprinter, and Herman Goldberg, the catcher on the baseball exhibition team.
Hey, the guy sounds like he's getting ready to leave.
Let him. I'm going back to the railroad station.
What are you talking about, Dave?
I'm talking about going home. To hell with this country. I don't want to run track where they put up signs like that.
Now, take it easy, Dave. No use getting mad.
Don't tell me not to get mad. I never should have come here.
Why did you come?
Well, for the same reason you did. To be in the Olympics. And I had another reason, too. I wanted to show those Nazis up. I wanted to prove that a Jew can run against Aryans and beat them.
Okay. If that's what you came to do, why don't you stay and do it?
Moment, nur einen Schritt machen, bitte.
Peter, the Fuhrer has given orders to remove all such signs. To receive our Olympic guests, we must be more charming than the Parisians. You are of the American team, no? We may have your autographs? Vielen Dank.
Hey, Herm, what do you think they'll do with that card when they read Goldberg and Levitt, huh?
The Olympic Village for the athletes, men only that is, was very nice. The Germans had built it to use for an army officers' academy afterwards. It even had a sauna and a canteen to relax in. And there was training areas for all sports. I liked to watch Jesse practice. He held the world's record, 26 feet, 8 1/4 inches. And Lutz Long, a German. He was European champion. And neither one would show his best jump to the other.
Einen faszinierenden deutschen Film, Wasser am Rhein. May I have your attention? Your entertainment this evening, the title of German film, Archival of the Rhine, will be shown in the Olympic Village Theatre at 7:20. Attention. Soir, ici, on présente au théâtre Village Olympique à 7h20 un film allemand très charmant. El Château du Rhin. Atención, por favor. Esta noche, para su placer, presentamos en el Teatro del Pueblo Olímpico a las 7:20 una película alemana muy simpática, Los Castillos del Río Rin.
Okay, Pasquale, it's all yours.
No, it's all right. I'm not going to qualify.
Why not?
Because qualifying distance is 23 feet 6 inches. The best I've ever jumped is 22.8. Nobody else in Mexico could jump any better, so they put me on the team.
Well, let's see you try one anyway. Come on. What have you got to lose? Ah, 22 feet 6.
I told you, a whole foot short.
Yeah. Okay, why don't you try it again with a longer run?
It won't help.
Won't hurt. Just step off another 15 feet and try.
Uh.
23 feet even.
Wow, no lo creo nunca en mi vida.
What?
I never jumped 23 feet in my life.
You can do a lot better than that, too. Try a lot more arm motion.
Why do you do this?
I had better coaching than he did.
No, what I mean is, he's jumping against you. If you teach him good, maybe, he beats you.
Never thought of that. Woo! 23-2.
In a week, Jesse became the most popular man in Germany. Except for Hitler, I suppose. He signed so many autographs, he would get cramps in his arm. And some nights, they would take so many flash pictures through his window, he couldn't get any sleep. And in the morning, he would find notes and letters shoved under his door.
What is all this stuff?
It's from ladies, women.
Like they want.
They want to marry you.
Something else I found.
You don't have to bother with this. It's stupid.
I got an idea what it says from one of the guys, but he couldn't make it all out. Read it to me, let's see.
You have to understand. This is not a real newspaper like Zeitung. This is Der Angriff. It's just propaganda from the Nazi party.
What's it say about Negroes?
The Americans should be ashamed of themselves, throwing black auxiliaries against our fine German sportsmen. Anyway, these Negroes are proving not to be as good as expected, while the competitive capacity of the German athletes have increased remarkably.
Der Angriff doesn't have to compete against you.
The pictures, lads. What's it say about the pictures?
Science shows that the Negro race is not as closely related to the Aryan race as it is to apes and monkeys. Note how the stained section of the Negro skull, photo left, is similar to the ape skull, right.
Well, a lot of German women must think it's better to make love with an ape than an Aryan.
And now, we have the qualifying attempts for the running broad jump.
Owens, USA.
Owens of America. This should not be terribly difficult for him, since he holds the world record 26 feet 8 1/4 inches, while qualifying distance is only 23 6.
Fall!
Owens hat ein Foul.
Sir, I wasn't jumping. I was just pacing off my steps.
Your name was called, no?
Yes, sir, but I wasn't ready to jump. We're always allowed one run through the pit.
Your name was called. You jumped, you fouled.
Owens has overrun the foul line, but he has 2 more jumps in which to qualify.
Long, Deutschland.
Lutz Long of Germany, the European champion. Long qualified. Pascual Martinez of Mexico.
Qualifiziert.
23 feet 8 inches. Martinez qualifies. Owens will go again.
Fall!
Owens has fouled again. The American champion is down to his last chance.
Tajima, Japan. Sein zweites Mal.
Looks like the fix is in.
The what is in?
They can't fool around with qualifying me on the sprint, so maybe they're giving it to me on the jump.
Once I've been like you, so much worry on the mind I didn't jump well. Then I learned what to do.
Yeah, what?
Take one worry off your mind about making another foul.
How?
Make your jump from 1 foot in front of the line. You'll have to jump 24 feet and 6 inches, but that's nothing to you. I'll mark the spot with my towel. When the print of your foot is on it, no one will be able to say it wasn't a fair jump.
7,2 Meter, Gleichung qualifiziert.
Owens springt wieder. Owens' last chance.
thought you didn't believe in helping the competition.
I want to compete against the champion. That'll make me the champion when I beat you.
I couldn't believe I was looking at the same man last night. They had me over to dinner. They're a real close family. Jesse and Ruth, and their daughters, Gloria, Beverly, and Marlene. Very warm. Always get together for birthdays, holidays, good times and bad times. And Jesse could always smile for them. Nobody ever saw him down. Till now.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a wet blanket. Well, I just heard today the prosecutor's going to ask for the maximum. The whole 4 years.
Oh, no, Daddy. I can't believe they'd do that to you.
Whatever. It's prison. I don't think I could take 4 days in prison.
When will we know?
I'm not going to tell you. I don't want you to be there.
Why not, Daddy? We want to be with you.
No, I'm just going to go and take my medicine by myself. I don't want you to see me like that.
Jesse, you can't mean me. Is there any way, shape, or form I haven't seen you by now?
Yeah, there is. You've never seen me scared.
The Olympic Committee allowed the coaches of its athletes to come along with the team at their own expense. I had Jesse Owens and Dave Albritton in the games. Dave was a high jumper. He took the silver medal. The gold medal was won by his teammate Cornelius Johnson, and the bronze medal by another teammate, Dallas Thurber. Jesse's first event was the 100-meter dash. There were 6 finalists: Borschmeyer of Germany, Wyckoff of America, Jesse Owens, Strandberg of Sweden, Ozendarp of Holland, Metcalf of America. Jesse got off to his usual early lead. Then Metcalf, with his tremendous power, came up fast. But Jesse won.
First place, Owens, United States. Second place, Metcalf, United States. Third, Ozendarp, Holland.
You stand on the pedestal with the stars and stripes flying above and the Star-Spangled Banner playing. The wreath of victory is on your brow. The gold medal is in your hand. You are an Olympic champion.
Fourth was Frank Wyckoff, United States. And Borschmeyer, the fastest man the Germans had, finished 5th. Now remember that. The fastest German placed next to last. In a qualifying heat for the 200 meters before the final race, there was a big surprise. The favored runners were Jesse and his teammate, Mac Robinson.
Fertig! Auf die Plätze! Fertig!
Robinson won the heat. Mac Robinson was one of the few who ever beat Jesse, and nobody ever heard of him. But 11 years later, everybody heard about his kid brother, Jackie.
Meter Endspiel.
And now the final of the 200-meter race.
Fertig!
It's Owens and Robertson fighting for the lead. Owens wins. Time, 20.7 seconds, a new world record.
Now the two Jewish boys on the track team, Dave Levitt and Marty Glickman, were also expecting to go for the gold in the 4x100 relay. But the day before the event, they were called to a meeting of the 7 American sprinters. Jesse, who was not slated to do any more running, Metcalf, who was finished with all his events, Mac Robinson, who was also finished, and the 4 men scheduled to run the relay, Wyckoff, Draper, Glickman, and Levitt. The meeting was called by the head track coach, Lawson Robertson, University of Pennsylvania, and the assistant head track coach, Dean Cromwell, USC.
Gentlemen, we're making a change in the 4x100. Owens and Metcalf will run in place of Glickman and Levitt.
But Coach, Dave and I are named to run.
We have the authority to make the change, and we're making it.
Glickman, the reason is we have information the Germans are going all out to beat us in this event. We need every split second we could shave off our time, and running Owens and Metcalf will do that for us.
Coach, you know the Germans can't beat us. The fastest man is Borschmeyer. Frank Wyckoff just beat Borschmeyer in the 100. I'm as fast as Frank is. Marty's as fast as I am. How can we lose?
We have information they have faster runners than Borschmeyer.
Like who?
They're hiding them.
They can't hide anybody that good. Because to be a world-class sprinter, you have to run in world-class competition.
We'll go by our information, Glickman, not by your argument. I don't think information has anything to do with it. I think the reason is that Marty and I are Jews.
Come on, Dave. What kind of sense does that make?
Everybody knows that our colored guys winning all those medals is very embarrassing to the Nazis. And on top of that, if Hitler has to watch a couple of Jews go up on the winner's platform, he's liable to turn blue. So I've got a pretty good idea that some big shot German went up to our people and said, please, don't embarrass our Führer any worse. Kick those 2 Jews off your team. Can you prove that? I can prove that Mr. Brundage is a Nazi sympathizer. He makes speeches at rallies. The German-American Bund, which is the closest thing to a Nazi party in America. And he has other pro-Nazi and anti-Semitic connections.
And so have you, Mr. Cromwell.
Coach, can you honestly tell me that Brundage did not talk to you about getting rid of us?
Coach, let Dave and Marty run. They had to train and sweat and fight in the tryouts to make the team they deserve to run. I don't want to take their place.
You will do as you're told.
In 1940, Avery Brundage came out in the open by joining the pro-Nazi and anti-Semitic America First Committee. But in 1936, there was nothing more to say.
Nächstens der 400-Meter Staffellauf. Für die amerikanische Mannschaft 2 Substitutionen, Owens und Metcalfe. The men's 400 meters relay. The teams in the final are Argentine on the inside lane, Germany next, then Holland, America, Italy, and Canada on the outside.
Auf die Plätze! Fertig!
Jesse Owens, American Negro, the world's fastest sprinter, sets a terrific pace from the start and passes the Italian Mariani easily to handover to Metcalfe. He flashes ahead, faster, faster, past Hamburg, Canada, to send Draper away, the second chain. And Draper, look how he's moving. He's clear. He's taken off the rest of the field in the curve. And the last chain, Frankie Wyckoff, shoots off. They can't possibly catch him. He's turning himself down the straight.
A new world's record. Second place Italy, Germany third.
The American team won by 15 yards. There was no way they could have lost short of dropping the baton. Afterwards, several of their teammates expressed sympathy to Levitt and Glickman and asked if they were bitter. They said, sure, but not against Jesse. He was the only one who spoke up for them. Jesse offered not to run until that coach pointed his finger and said, you will do as you're told. The boys said they didn't hold it against Jesse, that he always tried to do what was expected of him.
The team wanted Jesse to take the top step, but he made Metcalfe get up there because Ralph had been in 2 Olympics and had never won the gold before.
Das Endspiel vom Weitsprung.
The running broad jump final was a climactic struggle for Jesse, and in a sense for all of us. America's champion Negro one-on-one against Germany's champion Aryan, Lutz Long.
Long of Deutschland.
Long of Germany.
Meter.
24 feet, 8 3/4 inches.
Owens, USA.
Owens of America.
Meter.
25 feet, 4 3/4 inches.
Long springt wieder.
Long again.
Meter.
25 feet, 8 3/5 inches.
Owens springt wieder.
Owens again. 25 feet, 9 1/2 inches.
Long bringt wieder sein letztes Mal.
Long's last jump.
Gleichstand mit Owens. Eine neue Europameisterschaft.
25 feet, 9 1/2 inches, tying Owens and setting a new European record.
Owens springt sein letztes Mal.
Owens' last jump.
Go, Owen!
Komma 59 Meter. Das ist ein neuer olympischer Rekord.
26 feet, 5 5/16 inches, a new Olympic record.
Why not? Yes, see,
It was a proud moment for America. Jesse Owens went home with his 4 gold medals, a national hero. Lutz Long went into the German army. In combat with American forces, he was killed. The day after Jesse won his 4th gold medal, while the games were still going on, the American Olympic Committee sent him and other athletes to track meets all over Europe. The purpose was to make money.
Money for whom?
For the committee. To pay for the potatoes the boys ate in the Olympic Village, they said. First, they sent Jesse to Cologne. He didn't get to see the famous cathedral, just the stadium where he ran for the local police benevolent society. Next day, they sent him to Prague, which he also didn't see, except from a taxi. Next day, they sent him back to Germany to run in some smaller cities for any outfit that would give the committee 10% of the gate. Then they sent him to London. I was conducting another group for the committee, and we met Jesse's group there. I was to take them both to Stockholm.
You look terrible.
Just a little tired, Coach.
Underweight, too. How much?
Maybe 5 pounds.
Maybe 10. Come on, I'll get you a decent dinner.
Thanks, but not right now. I'm talking to Ruth on the phone in about an hour. It's all set up by the Rudy Valley radio program. They bought it in New York. She'll call me from the studio.
Jesse, maybe you shouldn't go to Stockholm. You could be flirting with exhaustion.
No, I'm okay.
You're no judge. Those big shots don't give a damn. They're shipping you boys around like cattle to get their 10%.
15 if I run.
What's that?
Some Swedish guy was here to check on me. He said the committee gets 15% if I'm in the meet, 10 if I'm not. I gotta go, Larry. Everything will be all right. Hello?
Mr. Owens, BBC here.
Yes, sir.
Terribly sorry, but atmospheric conditions seem rather dismal. The call can't go through.
Oh, it can't.
We're told Rudy Valley will interview your wife on the air, though. Perhaps your hotel can lend you a short wave.
You were childhood sweethearts then?
Yes, indeed.
Do you cook for Jesse?
Oh, yes, ever since we were married.
Even during training season?
Especially during training season.
What does he like to eat?
Everything, especially steaks, and he actually likes spinach.
The secret of his success, maybe, like Popeye. Do you always watch Jesse when he runs?
Every time I can. I missed a few of the college track meets.
Well, how did you get word of Jesse's big day in Berlin, Mrs. Owens?
I listened to the radio reports. It was a thrilling afternoon, Mr. Valley.
I should think it must have been. When does Jesse arrive back home?
August 18th, according to present plans.
And you're anxious to see him?
I certainly am.
Mrs. Owens, we wish both of you the best of luck. It's too bad you couldn't talk to your husband over the phone to London, but we're glad that you came anyway.
Goodbye, Mr. Valley.
Goodbye.
Jesse decided to take the next boat to America. I suggested to the reporters that they tell Avery Brundage about the Emancipation Proclamation.
Is that why you walked out on the European tour? You were tired and lonesome?
I'll tell you what I was tired of. On the train leaving Prague, it was an all-day ride. I didn't have any money. I was hungry. A man bought me a sandwich and a glass of milk. Can you understand getting tired of living like that? Well, I was being flooded with cablegrams from America. Theatrical agents, producers, promoters, they wanted me for shows and exhibitions. I asked Coach Schneider for his advice. He said, Jesse, there are not a hell of a lot of ways a colored man can make big money. You may be able to earn more in the next few months than in the rest of your life.
And you wanted that fast buck?
It's more what I didn't want. I didn't want my father's life. An honest, hard-working, there never was a better man. He could never find himself a decent job. And in later years, if I wondered whether I'd made the right decision, all I had to do was think about Mac Robinson. He won a silver medal for the United States and spent most of his working life shoveling out sewers for the city of Pasadena.
Several matters I have time to clarify now that the games are almost over. First, on the dismissal of Eleanor Holm from the swimming squad for drinking champagne with reporters on shipboard, I have a cable here from Mr. Gregory Vincent Jr. of Kansas City, and I quote, "You did the right thing." Stop. Eleanor Holmes' example to young Americans is deplorable, unquote.
Mr. Brundage, are you serious? Who is Gregory Vincent Jr. of Kansas City?
We wish her luck. The next matter is the dismissal of two men from the boxing team, Joe Church and Howell King. They were dismissed for homesickness.
Mr. Brundage, is being homesick cause for getting kicked off the Olympic team?
Homesickness is a contagious disease. We wish them luck. The next matter, Jesse Owens. He is herewith suspended from all amateur competition.
Are you suspending Owens just because he doesn't want to run in Stockholm?
He failed to fulfill his competitive obligations.
Sir, Coach Snyder said in London, Jesse never signed any agreement for post-Olympic meets. If that's true, how does he have any obligations?
We wish him luck.
The suspension of Jesse Owens was never lifted. One of the greatest track athletes of all time. Kicked out of sports. 20 years later, you could say the shoe was on the other foot. President Eisenhower appointed Jesse his representative to the Olympic Games in Australia, an American ambassador of sport.
And a friend of yours is being appointed to go to Melbourne with your delegation, Mr. Owens. The president would like to get a shot of you two shaking hands, so may I ask you and Mrs. Owens to wait in here for just a little while?
Sure. Who is this friend of mine?
Mr. Avery Brundage. Will you excuse me?
Honey, I don't even want to say hello to that man, let alone shake hands.
Then don't.
It could get sticky going all the way to Australia like that.
Don't go to Australia. Jesse, I don't want you getting those knots in your stomach.
Honey, this is going to be the best thing that happened to my digestion since my mama birthed me.
Hello, Jesse.
See you a minute, please.
Excuse me.
Just want to tell you that if you're on this delegation, I don't care to be.
Really? What will you give as your excuse for backing out?
Exactly what I think of you.
What you think is of no concern to me, never was, never will be. But you could create an ugly incident that might harm the Olympics and sport in general.
Well, if you're worried about that, why don't you back out and give yourself some Mr. Clean excuse like you always do?
My president wants me on this delegation.
That's it, then.
I see you're still running true to form. In 1936, you failed to fulfill your obligations to your Olympic Committee, and now you're going to fail your president.
Well, maybe you can get me suspended again.
And they call you a credit to your race.
Like you care about my race.
The question is whether you care. The United States of America is giving a colored man the privilege of representing it abroad. I should think that the entire colored race could take pride in this, unless you choose to fail them, too.
I don't need you to show me my choices.
Fine. If you can see your duty to your own people, you should be man enough to do it.
Mr. Owens, ready for you.
It's quite enough.
I'm very excited.
And I got the idea about the Harlem Globetrotters because I realized that this country is just full of terrific black basketball players that nobody wants. And nobody wanted Jesse either. The Globetrotters hired Jesse Owens from time to time to do public relations. So ask me, how come he needed the work? When, according to all the offers he got, he was on his way to being a millionaire. Jesse came home on the Queen Mary. He was met by his wife in a gin mill full of reporters.
Jesse, where's the beautiful British girl we hear you danced with all the way across?
No comment.
Smile for the camera.
Hey, what girl? Ruth, honest, honey. I was seasick the whole time.
What are you going to do now, Jesse? What are your plans?
Seriously, what I wanted to do was go back to Ohio State and get my degree, then coach at a colored university. And maybe I will be able to realize that someday, but right now I've had offers I just can't afford to turn down.
What are the offers?
I'd like to introduce my new agent, Mr. Marty Forkins.
Marty Forkins.
Hi, fellas.
We've had firm offers for over $100,000. $40,000 for 10 weeks on the Eddie Cantor show. Paramount Pictures wants us to do a whole series of short subjects. Fox Films has a feature in mind for us. They already have the title.
What is the title?
Charlie Chan goes to the Olympics.
Charlie Chan?
Don't you get the angle? Charlie Chan chases these international crooks all over the world. And Jesse Owens helps him capture.
Oh, you feel so good.
We're lining up endorsements for radio, for newspapers, for magazines, for billboards.
So ask me, what was the happy ending? I'll tell you what Jesse himself told me. They gave him a parade in Cleveland, a parade in Columbus, and the big parade in New York. Next day, it was back to the back of the bus. Take, for example, all those endorsements that Jesse was offered. It turned out that the sponsors wouldn't touch him. They were afraid that white people would shy away from a product that was being used by a black man.
Well, but didn't he make $40,000 for going on the Eddie Cantor show?
He never went on the Eddie Cantor show. Some press agent got himself a nice raise because he finagled some kind of free publicity. Jesse never got nothing.
What about the movies?
The movies, Paramount gave him nothing. Fox was a little bit better. They did make the movie Charlie Chan Goes to the Olympics. And Jesse was in it. He was in it for 10 seconds, his leg of the relay race. They showed the newsreel films. I don't think that they paid him buckus.
Are you saying that none of these firm offers turned out any good?
You got to understand that today, a Jesse Owens could come out of the Olympics and go straight into being a wide receiver for a pro football team and make $1 million. But we're talking about 11 years before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. I mean, the doors were locked to black people. Well, finally, in December, his agent calls him, and he thought that this had to be good news because he invited him to lunch at Sabret's. You ever been to Sabret's in New York? No, huh? Very popular place.
Everything all right, Jess? Got enough sauerkraut?
Oh, just fine, Marty.
I got something solid for you. Money's not great, but it's not bad. The only thing is you got to be willing to go to Havana with a black baseball team.
I'm willing. What do I play, infield?
Not exactly infield.
What position?
Not exactly any position. But the good news is you don't have to work the whole game. Just a 7th inning stretch.
Damas y caballeros, la carrera del siglo. Presentamos el héroe olímpico Jesse Owens y su contrincante formidable. En las marcas, listos.
People said it was degrading. Jesse didn't like it either. He raced against cars, dogs. If it moved, he raced against it. Local kids at football half times, baseball players around the base paths. He slept to carnivals and county fairs and swap meets. The greatest athlete in the world. And nobody knows how he had to scratch to make a living. The only decent dollar that Jesse made in those days was through a great guy, a great performer, who became his friend, Bojangles. He taught Jesse a little tap dance and took him on the road with his act. He shoehorned Jesse into his Cotton Club review. He was a real friend, Bojangles Bill Robinson. Jesse led a band that opened at the Savoy in Harlem and closed at the Earl in Philly. What he earned, he invested in the dry cleaning business and went bankrupt. Well, by this time, Jesse had 2 children and no money coming in. So his hometown, the city of Cleveland, showed their appreciation for the worldwide honor that he had brought to them by coming through with a job. Playground specialist. Even that didn't last long because it was civil service. And the guy on the list suddenly came to life.
So they just fired you?
Bumped me. In civil service, they call it bumped. Something was going to open up in the parks department, but it won't pay any better.
And you could get bumped again.
Yeah, I could. But it's either that or try to get on the WPA. Or do something you might not like me to do.
What wouldn't I like you to do?
Go back to college?
You don't think I would like that? And from the day I met you, I wanted you to go to college. When you could get your degree and teach physical education, become a professor, when you could coach other boys and you would be such a wonderful coach. And you would have a life in sports where you belong. What do you mean I would like that?
But I could only get a student job. It wouldn't support the family.
Maybe your family can support itself. We'll get a commission dry cleaning shop.
So who'd take a chance on us after we went bankrupt?
Every cleaning plant in Columbus. Got experience.
The job Ohio State gave Jesse had a nice title, too. Assistant trainer. He had 2 years to go to get his degree. And Jesse, well, the big problem was nobody can be a world champion at everything. You know what I mean? I mean, as a student, Jesse was no gold medal winner. But he tried like hell. So after a year and a half of this, they had a meeting. Some kind of executive committee.
His average for the 3 semesters is 1.07 out of a possible 4 points. In no one semester does he even come close to the 1.5 required for graduation.
It's pretty dismal. We all know that during the freshman and sophomore years, Owens did not submit himself to the regular curriculum in physical education. The reason was that his athletic advisors wanted to keep him eligible for track. He was steered away from the basic sciences and other stiff courses. He never learned how to study on the college level. And now that he's forced to tackle required courses, the record is dismal. Do you think he's capable of passing those courses? I do, provided he's given proper guidance and encouragement. I think he could graduate and go on to a fine future as an educator, in the field where he certainly belongs. And I think we owe him that help. I wouldn't want to feel that we exploited Owens while we could, and now that he isn't eligible to be exploited anymore, we cut him loose.
Colleges and universities have always exploited athletes to a certain extent and probably always will.
Yes, but it's this university that put Jesse Owens on display. This university that invited the world to admire the beautiful and remarkable specimen that we developed. He always came through for us. And now I think he's entitled to have us come through for him. To have this great university do everything in its power to help him gain the respect of the world. Not only as a psychomotor phenomenon, but as a man.
Well, we've already expelled him twice and readmitted him.
Before the biggest crowd that ever saw a basketball game. 75,000 people. But I don't think it was us or the Boston Whirlwinds that pulled him in. It was Jesse.
Jesse Owens, you are most welcome to Berlin. The last time you were here, Hitler would not shake your hand. I give you both hands.
The last time I was here, Hitler was right up there in his box. But I believe the real spirit of Germany was exemplified down on the field by athletes like Lutz Long,
the man I managed to beat in the broad jump on my last jump. I want to say to you, stand fast with America in the fight for freedom, because that is what the United States of America stands for. Freedom and democracy under Almighty God. I know you are with us. God bless you all.
How could he do that? How could he get up there and put on that act? God bless America, freedom, democracy, and apple pie, which they wouldn't even let him have a slice of.
How he could get up there was my company paid him to make public relations speeches, and he needed the money. And how he could put on an act, it wasn't an act. The man happens to love America. Jesse Owens believes in America, the same as he believes in God.
Okay. I'll tell the judge the defendant loves America. The judge will still want to know why he didn't pay his taxes.
I was the second black man to become vice president of a major American company. And I don't think I could have done that without Jesse's example. You see, the gold medals give him an image. And he uses that image to help other people, consistently, from the day he started straightening out his own problems.
How did he do that?
Well, Jesse was sort of scratching around until the war. And then he went with the government on a physical fitness program, and then into defense plant personnel. And after the war, Abe Saperstein hired him to do some promotional talks. And basically, I think that's what Jesse's been doing for a living ever since. Public speaking. You know, to this day, I think he has exactly 5 stock speeches.
God bless America, freedom, democracy.
Yes, that's one. 2 is the Olympics in 1936, and number 3 is the humorous speeches he gives at the Lily White Convention.
I'm so happy to be here, ladies and gentlemen, to add a little color to your gathering. Speaking of color, I made a TV documentary that used some film of the Berlin Olympics, which was in black and white, of course. None of the networks would put it on. The producer told me it was a case of discrimination, so I told him, show them the negative. Then I'll be white, and all the Nazis will be black.
Number 4 was the importance of family for youth groups.
Think of your home as a football team. You are a member of that team. You have a responsibility to keep your room clean. You have a responsibility to honor and obey thy mother and thy father, and thy days upon this earth shall be longer. Dad's responsibility is to provide the economic means to make that home go. The mother is the quarterback. She provides the food, the loving comfort. And when a play is called, if father, mother, and you carry out your responsibilities, then you have something better than a touchdown. You have love, understanding, a feeling of being wanted. That's a happy home. It never becomes tarnished. It never gathers dust. And it will live with you for as long as you live on the face of God's earth.
Speech number 5 is Hitler, and this one goes over big with B'nai B'rith.
People ask me, what did you think about Hitler not shaking hands? Well, I didn't go to Berlin to shake hands with him. One thing I did learn about him, though, Hitler believed in astrology. He swore by it. When he invaded Poland, he sent for his astrologer and asked him if the democracies would hold still for this, as they did for the Rhineland and Czechoslovakia. The astrologer answered, no, there will be war. Well, Hitler said, will Germany win? The astrologer said, "No, my Führer, Germany will be defeated." Then Hitler asked, "Will I survive this defeat?" The answer was, "No, you will die." Hitler took this like a blow. "Can you tell me," he asked, "when I will die?" "Yes," was the answer. "You will die on a Jewish holiday." "Which Jewish holiday?" Hitler demanded. "Führer," said the astrologer, "I don't know which one, but whenever you die, it will be a Jewish holiday."
Now, as many speeches as Jesse makes to earn a living, he makes twice as many without pay for charities, like the Southside Boys Club for underprivileged kids, which Jesse himself founded back in 51. He does better with the club's money than he does with his own.
Jesse, do you have any idea what our bank balance is?
I wouldn't know the exact number.
You don't need to know numbers. You just need to know 2 words. Overdrawn.
That's one word, honey.
Overdrawn again.
Oh, now how'd that happen?
You keep writing checks and not entering them. What is this one for? It's made out to a Michael Furman.
Who?
Michael Furman.
Oh, Michael, that's Amos Furman's boy. I grew up with Amos back in Alabama.
And?
He just moved to Chicago with a wife and baby, and he asked if I could help tide him over till he gets on his feet. I couldn't say no.
Who is Maureen Brill?
Maureen Brill. Oh, I met her at the Rome Olympics. She swam freestyle. Now she's going to Loyola Law School, and she didn't have quite enough for this year's tuition, so she looked me up. How could I say no to her?
What's the reason you couldn't say no to Barnard Letterman?
He's my cousin. Oh, well, wait a minute. Not exactly a cousin. He's related to my sister Pearline by marriage. Oh, that's not right either. Let me put it this way. I don't know who Barnard Letterman is.
And Jesse couldn't say no when the U.S. Health Department asked him to go south with a sex education film for the black kids.
It's the same with sex as it is with smoking. You young people have plenty of time for that. There is a lesson to be learned from athletics. Take care of your body, and it will take care of you.
And how could Jesse say no when the U.S. State Department asked him to go to the Far East to combat communism by showing the spirit of America? Huh? And also, Jesse did a lot of things that nobody asked him to do, such as organizing the Junior Track Classic and his sports clinic, in which top athletes coached kids, like me.
I don't know. We could talk about how to hit the board, but I get the idea you're not trying very hard. That right?
I don't know.
Come on, champ. Let's take a walk.
What for?
If we walk long enough and talk long enough, we'll get to understand one another. Come on. Well, athletics isn't everything in life. Do you try your best with your schoolwork?
Sometimes.
Not all the time? Why not?
Because it makes no difference. I don't do that great, no matter what.
See your point. What's the longest you ever broad jumped?
21.8.
And you don't call that great? Jeez, it's better than I did in junior high school.
You mean that?
Best I did back then was 21 feet even.
He was lying through his teeth. He jumped almost 23 feet. But by the time I found out, I was in the Olympics myself.
You were?
Yes.
Do any good?
Bronze medal.
Do all of Jesse's friends make the Olympics?
Heavens, no. You'd have more people in the fields than you do in the stands.
According to this reporter, this Dale Marks, you're perfect. When this reporter asked, how do you manage to keep an even more perfect record in your private life than you did in athletics, the 4-time Olympic gold medalist seemed embarrassed. I guess, he said, I'm just too busy to get into trouble. At least you were honest enough to be embarrassed. Is this Dale Marks a man or a woman?
Man.
Are you sure?
Something wrong, honey?
Well, you might think so when you go into the bedroom.
God, Ruth!
Ruth, what is going on? We can't afford all that right now.
I know.
So what's the big idea?
Jesse, you're too old. Hello? Yes? Well, I don't know if he's here.
You don't know if I'm here.
Because there's another coach with another boy in trouble, Jesse, and you can't keep going. Go on whenever they want you to.
Hello. Yes, Bill. No, it's okay. But where is he? I'll go right over. Sorry, honey.
Help you, sir?
Lieutenant, I understand you're holding a boy, Marlon Gregory, on a disorderly conduct. Would it be possible to release him to me? I'll be responsible. My name is Jesse Owens.
The Jesse Owens?
Okay, thanks. I see you.
Wait a minute. Let's take a little walk.
You said I could go home.
All right, I'm going to drive you home after we walk for a bit. Come on, it won't hurt you. Okay, champ, you're a terrific athlete, but there's more to be learned from athletics than running and jumping. There's living by the rules. Otherwise, you don't have a good athletic contest and you don't have a good society. But if you play the game of life by the rules of the society in which we live, you can be a winner, Marlon. Everybody can be a winner.
In 1955, Jesse was appointed by Governor William G. Stratton of Illinois to his dream job.
And I will faithfully discharge the duties of Cook County Supervisor, Division of Community Services, Illinois Youth Commission. So help me God.
He held the job for 6 years. It might have been a lot longer, but he still couldn't learn to say no.
Come in, come in. How are you?
I can't complain. How about you, Mr. Hoffa?
I'm complaining plenty. Jerks running this local are dropping the ball. If you want to know why I asked you down here, that's why.
What's why?
This crummy election, we could lose it. Look, if you guys want to make yourselves useful, don't let me start. You got to help us, Jesse.
In what way?
You got to go out there and get those deadheads to vote that they want to stay with the Teamsters.
Well, I don't know how.
Sure you do. I've heard you make speeches. You know how to shovel it on.
Swell, thanks a lot. But I'm not an expert on unions, so how can I advise them?
You tell me. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying, what do you want?
There's no reason why those men should listen to me, Mr. Hoffa.
Sure there is. Taxi drivers are the world's greatest sports fans. They'd rather brag how they shook hands with Jesse Owens than the President of the U.S. I asked you a question. Didn't you understand it?
I understood it. I'm just not interested in answering it. Let's say goodnight, Mr. Hoffa.
Wait a minute. Don't go yet. Maybe I got an answer for you. Colored drivers.
What about them?
You ride cabs in Chicago. How many Negroes you see driving?
Not too many, Mr. Hoffa, thanks to you.
Oh, you blame that on me, huh?
I do. You were charged before a Senate committee with discriminating against Negroes and the Teamsters. Not only taxi drivers, but truck drivers, too.
What about a deal to change that policy?
How could I depend on it?
Jesse, the change is coming. It's already come in other cities, and we can make it happen in Chicago and the Central States now, not just a few years from now. 25% more Negro drivers by Christmas. Now, is that enough? Or are you looking for a little something else?
Nothing else, Mr. Hoffa. That would be enough.
Now you're talking. You wait here and listen, huh? What the hell's so special about this local beats me. But guess who's here? Jesse Owens, huh?
My fellow reckless drivers.
Did you know this Teamsters Local is the most corrupt union in the country? That's why the Senate Rackets Committee called this local. Did you know that, Mr. Commissioner?
So it says in the papers.
It's a fact. Some of Hoffa's henchmen have arrest records as long as your best broadshots.
I had no knowledge of that.
The governor wants to know how much Jimmy Hoffa paid you to try and keep that local in the Teamsters.
Not a cent. Tell the governor whoever says so is a liar.
You supported him simply in the belief that he would bring more Negroes into the union.
That's exactly right.
Maybe the governor who appointed you would let you get away with that, but the present administration will not.
What you mean is the present administration wants my job so you can put your own man in.
Oh, that's going to happen, Mr. Owens. How it happens is up to you. We can remove you for cause. The Attorney General is prepared to bring charges. Problem. The case would be tried in the newspapers, and you're something of an American folk hero, especially to Negro Americans. They look up to you. You're a credit to their race. For their sake, the governor does not want to see your image destroyed. He's offering you a chance to resign.
So they put out a story that Jesse was resigning because the new administration was making cuts in youth services, which they were. But then the hanky-panky charges got circulated, and well, people started calling Jesse a crook. But that still doesn't give you the right to call him an Uncle Tom.
Now, we're talking about the '68 Olympics. I think my generation knows that subject better than yours. I followed it for a year before the Mexico City Games, from the time the Black Youth Conference called for a boycott of the Olympics unless certain demands were met. This was not a bunch of radicals. Martin Luther King was an official advisor, and the spokesman was a college professor.
Number 1, the restoration of Muhammad Ali's boxing title. Number 2, removal of the anti-Semitic and anti-Black personality, Avery Brundage, from his post as president of the International Olympic Committee. Number 3, curtailment of participation of South Africa and Southern Rhodesia in the Games. 4, 2 black Olympic coaches. 5, 2 black people on the Olympic Committee.
Question, forgetting all the other issues for the moment, do you really think you can blast Avery Brundage from the IOC?
There are prominent people in sports who agree with this. Avery Brundage should have been retired 40 years ago for his incompetence, not to mention his racial attitudes.
This proposed boycott can only harm the Negroes themselves. The Olympics are the only chance for international recognition that the Negroes, Jews, and the communists have. At my suggestion, the International Olympic Committee has taken the following action. South Africa will be barred from these games. Now, that is not a matter of giving in to any protests or threats. We are doing it simply to protect South African boys and girls from violence or unpleasantness in Mexico City.
After that, the focus of the black protest changed. It was decided to call off the boycott and have organized demonstrations at the Games. And then that changed. It was left up to the individual athlete to do whatever they thought was right. And that turned out to be mainly a couple of black guys who ran the 200 meters, Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Smith won first place and set a record. Carlos took third place. The whole world knows what they did next. The raised fist and black gloves stood for black power and unity. The black scarf was for black pride. The black socks with no shoes stood for black poverty in racist America. That night, the U.S. Olympic Committee called for the blacks in the track team to a special meeting. And guess who the USOC sent to talk to them?
Well, you know where I stand. I've said it often enough. The problems that we have in America should be solved inside America. You have better battlefields to fight on than an Olympic stadium in Mexico City. There is no room in sports for race or prejudice. Now, what Tommy and John did this afternoon is just as racist as what they were protesting against. They disgraced their country. And where are they? Why aren't they here?
I'm here in their place, Mr. Owens. What is it you want?
Professor Preston, Black Studies Department, San Diego State.
It's not what I want, Professor. It's what the U.S. Committee asked me to pass along. Number one, the International Committee is warning that if there are any more demonstrations, they'll take severe action.
Such as what?
Such as expelling the entire American delegation, if that means anything to you, Professor. Second, can you help me work out with Tommy and John some form of, I won't say an apology, but some explanation to clear up what they did?
Why?
Because otherwise they could lose their credentials and get sent home.
Who's making all these lovely threats? Avery Brundage?
He's charging Tommy and John with violating the basic Olympic principles that the games must never be used for anything political.
What about not dipping the American flag to the host country in the opening day ceremony?
The American flag is dipped to nobody. It wasn't dipped to Hitler. And as far as I'm concerned, you don't need to be here. I'm talking to my black brothers.
You don't understand what he means, Mr. Owens. He's saying that both things are political. Their demonstration and not dipping the flag. So why is the committee coming down on just the blacks?
Because the protest was anti-American.
It was pro-black, not anti-anything.
Well, what about their bowed heads? They didn't look up at the flag.
Maybe they were crying.
He's here because he's a friend. We invited him.
All right. We're all friends here. Look, don't you think I know a little something about our problems? I was bleeding from both cheeks with those problems before you were born. You do what you can. And the best thing you can do right now You've worked so hard to make names for yourselves. Don't cheat yourselves out of your rewards.
Nobody's ever made a bigger name in athletics than Jesse Owens, right?
Yeah,
right. How do white racism reward you?
That was then.
How is it different now?
Opportunities are opening up. I don't mean just in pro football, which some of our guys are going straight into, as you know. I mean executive jobs in the big companies, which I know because I do public relations for them.
Yeah, which big companies? And how many blacks have they hired on the executive level so far?
I'm talking about a beginning. These athletes are the ones who can get a foot in the door. You brothers and sisters can pave a way for more of our people to enter business. Don't slam that door in everybody's face. You have only one country. Show some faith in it. All right. Professor, can you give me some clarification on what Tommy and John meant to say up on the stand?
They wanted all the black people in the world, the little grocer, the shoe repairman, to know that when that medal hangs on their chests, it also hangs on his.
I think that's great. Would they be willing to come with me and say that to the committee?
They'll say it to the media, but not to the committee.
Well, will they let me say it to the committee in their name?
No, they will not.
Why not? Why won't they?
Mr. Owens, the committee sent the wrong person to deal with these athletes. Now, some of them are from Chicago, just as you are, and they have told me that not once have they ever seen you at any of the black organization meetings that they go to. It would have been more honest to have sent Avery Brundage.
Smith and Carlos were suspended and sent home. Okay, Jesse Owens wasn't to be blamed for that. But he could have stood up for them a lot stronger than he did if he hadn't been more interested in sucking up to the power structure that runs from the Olympic Committee to the major corporations.
Yeah. Yeah, so now the corporations are deserting him over this tax thing. And he's had practically all of his speaking dates canceled. You know, Jesse was just trying to help the athletes, like he was trying to help the taxi drivers. One got him called a crook, and the other an Uncle Tom. Long before you did.
No, I don't think Slade Preston had any right to make that crack about sending Brundage. But I also don't think it was up to you to run errands for the committee.
I was at the games with your mother, and they asked me.
You could have said no.
When I'm on the committee?
On a subcommittee that they keep in a sub-basement.
Maybe they'll move me up to the basement one of these days.
No, they won't. They'll never put you on an Olympic committee that makes policy. They're just using you, Daddy.
I don't need that. I don't need it, I don't want it, and I'm not going to stand for it.
Well, Daddy, what did I say?
Daddy, you said yourself, they never let you in the mainstream.
Don't tell me what I said. It's one thing if I say it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Daddy?
I didn't mean to holler. I hear myself hollering more and more these days. I don't even know why. God, it's better to be on some committee than no committee. It's healthy to keep contact, keep walking together. If you walk long enough and talk long enough.
And talk long enough and
walk long enough.
We must have met somewhere before.
Yeah. I think it would be healthier to confront the so-and-sos. They've never put one black member on the Olympic governing board.
Oh, I know that's what you think, honey, but you can't expect me to think that way. Hey, did I ever tell you about a funny story about being invited down to Alabama? When I came back with my 4 gold medals, the state of Alabama gave a dinner to present me with an award. Their hero. I arrived at the banquet, and I was ushered in past all the people to the head table. They gave me the award, and they thanked me very much. And I was ushered out. And they didn't even let me, I mean, this whole big dinner in my honor, and I never got to sit down. That's a funny story.
My good God.
I've never heard anything so awful. It's terrible.
Sure, to you it's terrible. That's what any young black would say today. But I didn't think it was so bad because that's the way it was back then. I didn't expect any different. So you see why I'm always saying walk and talk, because I know what a long way we've come.
Well, I hope you don't go around telling that story in public.
You don't appreciate me.
For heaven's sakes, now what did I say?
He didn't mean you. He meant everybody. He meant no one appreciates him.
I'm not an inspirational leader like Dr. King. I'm not a trailblazer like Jackie Robinson. I just came along at a time when the black American needed an image. I try to use that image to teach people what I know that works. It isn't violence, it isn't confrontation, it's dialogue. It's understanding each other.
Nobody appreciates you for it. And that's what you came here to tell me?
If I try to tell my family, they argue and I get mad. I don't believe in getting mad.
My report is really finished, but I haven't signed it off because I still have no explanation of your offense. Is there any mitigating reason why you didn't pay your taxes? Anything that separates you from people just trying to cheat?
Let me answer you this way, champ. Go ahead and sign your report. I don't know why I didn't pay. I had no reason. I'll say goodnight.
Jesse, why don't you tell me the truth? You don't believe in confrontations. You don't believe in getting mad. Yet for 4 years in a row, you asked for a confrontation with the United States of America. Did you or didn't you?
I did.
You dared the government to get mad at you. You must have had a reason.
I may have had.
What was it?
I can't explain.
Why can't you? You've answered all the other questions. You've told the truth about everything else. Why not this? Jesse, what was your reason?
I paid my dues. Do you understand what I mean?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. How would you when you never paid any dues? I mean, don't look up, don't look down, you don't dare make the white boss frown. I mean, ride in the freight elevator and let them throw you out of sports for no reason? And take the cheap job because they won't even consider you for the good ones? I mean, keep smiling, boy. You have to keep showing those ivories.
Why did you have to?
Because I wanted to support my family. Because I wanted to run in the Olympics. Because I am a black man living in a white society, and I wanted society to make a place for me.
Well, you got what you wanted. You're riding in the front of the bus now, aren't you?
But I have paid for it. I'm still paying.
Paying with what?
With knots in my stomach. You don't think it hurts to put out the best you can and get called an ape, a crook, an Uncle Tom? And you still have to keep smiling because that's the only way you can compete? So how do you get rid of the pain? Hit somebody? I never hit anybody in my life. Burn, baby, burn, not me. I don't even march. That's not my way. I just keep paying my dues. But what if there comes a time when you can't hold it in anymore and you happen to be looking at a tax return? Then it's like somebody inside starts to holler, "Screw them! That's enough," he says. "You paid enough dues. It's time to take a little back." I'm not saying that all this was clear in my mind when I didn't pay the taxes. I still don't really know why I didn't pay. But you got me to look back at so much that happened through so many years. I think maybe this was the reason.
You want me to put that in my report?
You asked for the truth, you got it. Put it in, champ.
Hello, Jesse. Why so early?
I don't know. I guess I'm in a hurry to get it over with.
Isn't Ruth with you?
No, I told her not to come. Listen, George, do me a favor. If the judge sentences me to prison, don't ask for any kind of delay or appeal. I just want to go and get it over with.
And there are taxes and penalties due of over $68,000. Here is a man who lives at one of the finest addresses in Chicago, leads one of the finest lives, has represented the United States at different functions, and yet willfully failed to meet his basic responsibility as a citizen. Mindful that Congress has set a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison and or a $40,000 fine for this offense, I urge the court to sentence this defendant accordingly.
And since the prosecution has not determined the full amount of allowable deductions, such as my client's expenses for charitable activities, it is submitted that the United States has received whatever taxes may be due, and the charge is only technical. We ask, Your Honor, to consider the reputation of Mr. Owens as a leading light in the community and for this nation abroad. We recommend the court grant him probation.
From time to time, the government deliberately brings criminal charges against prominent people in tax cases because the publicity gets a lot of other people to pay their taxes. And taxes are the lifeblood of civilization. Without them, there would be no law and order, no schools, no commerce, no civil rights. You might say that's why Jesse Owens is being prosecuted. The court has considered all the testimony. The pre-sentencing report has also been considered. And I've come to the conclusion that your tax delinquency must be treated legally as willful, because it was your duty to make the tax returns and you did not make them. I'm not going to try to excuse you for it. There must be punishment. On the other hand, never has a defendant stood before me but that I've looked at his record. I hope that when I get up above, if I get there, and old St. Peter looks down and sees some of my misdoings, I hope that he'll look at the other side and try to find something on the credit side of the ledger. I've looked at the credit side of your record here. I have also taken a look at a statement of your financial condition. For all the money you've made, you are not a man of means. But your money hasn't gone to riotous living or been thrown away. It has gone rather to good purposes. You've been under tremendous pressure to help good causes. You may have neglected personal obligations, but your influence on the community has been good. The court has received a tremendous number of letters, telegrams, and telephone calls from prominent people, and ordinary people too, pointing out your devotion of time and energy to youth activities and to many organizations contributing to understanding and brotherhood. The overwhelming conclusion is that you are more than a star athlete. You are a humanitarian. Mr. Owens, you have been supporting our country, our way of life, our democracy. And I don't see any reason why this one error should prevent you from going right ahead and keeping up the good work. So I'm going to limit your sentence to a fine. I hereby sentence you to $750 for each of the 4 years, a total of $3,000. I will give you 6 months to pay the fine, and I'm not going to place you on probation. You do not need probation. You do not need that club over your head. The probation department has plenty to do trying to straighten out the people who belong on probation rather than spending time with you. I'm convinced that you will meet your responsibilities. That is the judgment of this court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Congratulations, Mr. Owens. Wonderful.
Just great. Yeah.
Hey! That's my car!
Jesse!
Oh, my God. Jesse Owens?
That's my name. What's yours?
You calling the cops?
Nope. No cops. What's your name?
Jerome. But what'd you catch me for?
Just see if you'd like to take a walk with me.
Take a what?
It can't hurt you. If we walk long enough and talk long enough, we might get to understand one another. Come on, champ. You interested in athletics, Jerome?
I don't know. Some.
There's a lot to be learned from athletics. Living by the rules of the game and by the rules of society. Otherwise, you don't have a good game and you don't have a good society. But if you play by the rules, respect the rights of your fellow man, respect the property of your fellow man, you can be a winner. Believe me, I know. Everybody can be a winner.
The next years of Jesse's life, well, you might say were the harvest years. His public relations clients came back to him, along with new ones. And the Owens family prospered, adding 5 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. He returned to the Ohio State campus on many occasions. One of them was when he was given an honorary doctoral degree. These were the years when the seeds of all the good things that Jesse had done, or tried to do, took root and grew. He founded the Jesse Owens Games, which have given millions of boys and girls of all races and economic backgrounds the opportunity to develop as track and field athletes. Track star Carl Lewis came through these games. The legendary Jesse Owens charm was available when his lifelong friend, Dave Albritton, was elected to the Ohio legislature and introduced the Public Accommodations Act. Jesse helped get it passed. This landmark law, which prohibits discrimination in any public facility against any person because of race or religion, grew directly out of what those guys went through in that Indiana diner. Jesse never did learn to say no. The list of grateful organizations that honored him for unstinting gifts of himself, his time, his effort, is a kaleidoscope of causes. Among them, the NAACP, the Boy Scouts, the National Conference of Christians and Jews, the Salvation Army. What tops it all is the honor that Jesse received from the President of the United States, the Medal of Freedom. It's the highest award that can be given to a private citizen. Jesse Owens died in 1980. He was 66. On the campus of The Ohio State University, outside the stadium that saw so many of Jesse's breathtaking races and leaps, on the plaza that bears his name, there is a sculpture erected in his memory. A plaque is inscribed, "As long as athletes compete in sports, or people strive for excellence in any undertaking, the life and accomplishments of Jesse Owens will remain an enduring inspiration."